Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma is proud to present The Shasteen Show from London's in downtown Tullahoma. Brought to you by Southern Community Bank, Rogers Insurance Group, and Mission Collision. Now, here are your hosts, Scott Shasteen and Ken Keller.
Good afternoon and welcome to downtown Tullahoma. It is a hot and steamy Monday afternoon and time for a mid-July edition of the Shasteen Show. Along with Ken Keller, I'm Scott Shasteen. Great to have you in the house tonight. Great to have you on the air tonight. Great to have you watching the replay on LightTube Channel 23 tonight. The people that make this show happen, Dave Stripling, Daniel Scroggins, Caleb King, do a great job. We appreciate all of their efforts each and every week. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. Football takes center stage on the Shasteen Show, Ken, and it won't go backstage again till about February.
You got that right. And we had a little baseball yesterday mixed in we got to talk about.
Oh, yeah, we got some baseball to talk about. We've got it's All-Star break in the major leagues. What are the Braves going to do? I think they need some help if they're going to win the pennant, but they're in really good shape at the All-Star break. Of course, Tullahoma's Justice Sheffield pitched in the Futures game over the weekend, but Ken, let's start out by you were here Saturday night, great event, Moon over Margaritaville. The home base of that thing was here at London Saturday. So how'd that go for you?
It was a great evening. A little bit of rain early on, but the Sound Dogs came and played. It was great, man. The door prizes, the auction items went quickly, to honor Joe Moon and all he had done in the community. I saw lots of Tennessee Vol shirts here. I saw lots of Alabama shirts in tribute to Joe Moon, who was a lifelong Alabama fan. And Joe Brown with the Sound Dogs, he sang little Sweet Home Alabama, but he followed that up with Rocky Top. So he said he wasn't going to play Sweet Home Alabama or sing that without playing Rocky Top right after. So it was a very enjoyable night. And, want to commend Ann Bear and Terry Pockers and all those that had a part, Scott, in contributing to this thing. Absolutely.
Their efforts are appreciated, and hopefully that money will go to help some kids who need some things. So it's all good, and we're glad everybody had a good time at Moon over Margaritaville. I suspect that will become an annual event here in downtown
That's
Tullahoma.
The plan, to make it an annual event. Of course, you're talking about football time. SEC Media Days started today, day one.
There's two things that let you know football is here. It's not just around the corner, it's here. And they happen on the same day this year. SEC Media Days start in Atlanta, and the guru of Tennessee high school football releases Murphy Fair's Tennessee High School Football magazine. You can pick up your copy of Murphy Fair's Tennessee High School Football magazine right now, probably not right now, but tomorrow at Sports Plus. I think that's 701 Southeast Atlantic Street, downtown Tullahoma. Maybe it's Northwest Atlantic. I don't know. You know where Sports Plus is. Go get you a copy of Murphy Fair's Tennessee High School Football and read all about high school football. We are going to reference that book an awful lot over the next month because, frankly, 1 month from tonight, high school football season begins. 1 month from tonight, Wilkins Stadium, 7 o'clock, Tullahoma, Shelbyville, season opener in high school football. We'll come on the air about 6:30 or so with some pregame and then head right into the broadcast. I'm looking forward to it, man.
I am too. They played a thrilling contest last year. So exciting. Went down to the last few seconds of the game, and we're going to have that kind of tantalizing finish again this year. That's going to be a good question to
I
find
hope
out.
so. Now, we got a couple of things we're going to focus on tonight as we dance around some of these other issues. We've got a new game that we're going to introduce here on the Shasteen Show. We entered the summer talking about lists. We had multiple shows that focused on lists. Well, the list concept is great for a little while, but we wanted to change it up a little bit. So tonight we're going to introduce something we call Five Faces. What is Five Faces? Well, it's similar to Mount Rushmore, but you hear everybody talking about the Mount Rushmore of this and the Mount Rushmore of that. So we're going to change it up a little bit and call it 5 faces. And we can do 5 faces of anything. We could do the 5 faces of London's patrons, the 5 faces of sports movies, the 5 faces of rock and roll singers, the 5 faces of anything. Tonight, where do you think we're going to start? We're going to start with the 5 faces of Tennessee football and the 5 faces of Alabama football. Now, this is not our favorites. This is not by position. This is in granite up on the side of a huge mountain. 5 faces all time of whatever. We welcome your input on that. I didn't even ask producers, can we take phone calls tonight? They don't know. They just look at it. I don't know. Can we take phone calls tonight? I heard the request line every day, so but they say no. We can't take phone calls tonight. So
that's all right.
If you want to win tonight's trivia, you have to come to London's here in downtown Tullahoma. That was almost a fatal slip right there. Yeah. You have to come to London's in downtown Tullahoma between now and I don't know. We're usually here till 7:30, 7:45, something like that. And I haven't given the correct answer over the last couple of weeks. We hadn't had a winner, and I haven't given the correct answer. So if I don't get the correct answer, well, that would kind of spoil coming up after the show and winning, wouldn't it?
That's right.
So we won't give the correct answer if nobody wins it. Your best deal is just to walk in here soon and answer this trivia question, and you're going to win what, Ken Keller?
Well, we've been showing Tennessee lots of love, so we decided to show Alabama some love tonight. The 2017 national champions. SEC Media Days kicked off today. Who's going to be there this year? Alabama did not win the SEC West. They did not win the SEC championship game. They lost the battle, but they won the war, beating the Georgia Bulldogs in the national championship 26-23. Our topic tonight kicks off SEC Media Days. Let's see who's going to win this awesome Alabama national championship pennant given by Tullahoma Awards and Gifts, located at Northgate Mall in Tullahoma. But you're not only going to win one prize tonight if you come in here to London's and answer this question that Scott Shasteen's fixed to answer. You're going to win 2 prizes. Double your prizes tonight, Alabama fans. This awesome Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, this is vinyl, and it's so cool. It's got the logo, the BCS logo on it. Here, national champions for 2017. This will be great to go down to Fan Day and get autographed by your favorite Alabama player and put in your room along with this pennant here. Scott, I can see you really enjoy holding this Alabama paraphernalia.
You know what I learned at a young age, Ken? Round the bowl and down the hole, roll tide, roll.
Oh, it's already started. It's already started.
All right, let's play some trivia. You got to be present. You got to come in to London's tonight to win this. It is not hard. Just go ahead and get it in the car. Be on your way. You're going to get this one. SEC Football Media Day began today. Lighthearted coaches of years past, such as Les Miles, Steve Spurrier, and Brett Bielema, are long gone. But those 3 gave us some laughable speaking moments. Jeremy Pruitt had his initial media day, or gets his initial media day opportunity Wednesday afternoon when the Vols are featured. In 2013, first-year Tennessee head coach Lyle Butch Jones established a mantra during his first media days. You remember it all, brick by brick. Jones wasted little time dropping the catchphrase as he delivered his opening statement at his first SEC media days. Quote, "We talked about building a championship culture, working to get UT football back to its rightful place, back among the elite of college football. We talked about doing that brick by brick," unquote. Jones was fired last season after an 0-8 SEC record, the first in Volunteer history. Thank you so much for including that. 5 new SEC head coaches will be at the podium for the first time this week at 2018 SEC Media Days in Atlanta, GA. Name all 5. Walk in here to London's, name all 5 head coaches who are in their first year at a school in the SEC. That's
a good point.
They are in their first year at their new school in the SEC this year. 5 of them. Come in here, name them, win these 2 Alabama pennants. Now, if you're already here, just come up to the table and name those 5 SEC head coaches who are new at a new school this year, and you'll get this fine Alabama pennant and this other thing, whatever you might want to put it on there.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. And I put that question out there, Scott, because I do miss Les Miles. I mean, that guy was so funny on SEC Media Days. Now, Steve Spurrier, he was a little smart alecky, okay? And, of course, Brett Bielema, after Spurrier left, he tried to be the comedian, for a little bit, but nobody can hang with Les Miles, man.
The Mad Hatter.
The Mad Hatter.
He was a treat.
Oh, he was a treat. And, I remember the one time, to give it a good example of Spurrier, Tennessee finished 7-6 in one of Bush Jones' season, and Spurrier comes out and says, well, certain schools did cartwheels and somersaults, for having 7-6 seasons. And Bush Jones come put the fire out on that one and said, no, we didn't, turn somersaults and cartwheels over 7-6 season, because Steve Spurrier, who takes jabs at Tennessee regularly, did it with Phil Fulmer. He was 7-6 himself the previous year. So I'm thinking, what are you talking about there, Spurrier? Come on, you were 7-6 as well.
I miss Spurrier in SEC. He was good for the conference. Tennessee boy from Johnson City. Mm-hmm. And you're right, he loved to take jabs at UT, but it helped create that Florida-Tennessee thing in the 90s. Spurrier really helped that along. I mean, they were great programs. The winner of that game usually went to the SEC title game, but Spurrier helped it. Got that national media attention with his you can't spell citrus without UT. That's
You're
the
right.
most classic one, right?
Yep, that is. That's one of them. And you talk about, the Iron Bowl is always a big game, but in the 90s, the bigger game, I could argue, would be Tennessee and Florida of the 90s. Peyton Manning against Spurrier, former Spurrier, Danny Werfel, all those great matchups the Vols and the Gators had those years.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Peyton Manning against the Gators was no rivalry because he couldn't beat them.
True. But we both, last week on the Shasteen Show, right here, picked Jeremy Pruitt in his first year to get the monkey off the Vols' back and win on the 20th anniversary of Pandemonium Reigns. Tennessee's going to beat Florida this year.
And LightTube's been showing the replay this week of Tullahoma Shelbyville. And Ken Keller quoted John Ward after that game with a nice little pandemonium reign.
Did I really?
Yes, you did.
Oh, man.
You're slipping.
I forgot that one. Yeah, I got to
slipping.
watch that, man, to brush up for game one. That's going to be a great. Grayson Trammell, of course, coming to Wilkins Stadium. Man, got through for 515 yards on us. Can Tullahoma's secondary and defense improve and shut him down? We're going to find out.
He won't even wait till we get started with it to start breaking it down. So we'll do that after the break. Again, 5 new SEC head coaches start this season at their first year at a school. I don't even need to know the schools. I need to know the 5 names of the 5 head coaches who start at a new school in the SEC this year. You got to come to London's and answer that question and win these 2 outstanding Alabama prizes. We'll come back. We are going to break down the Tullahoma Wildcats schedule game by game, just like we did Tennessee last week. We'll do the Wildcats this week. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, live downtown at London's. This is the Shasteen Show on 93.9 The Duck.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We are the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. russellbarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
Do you need more? More golf, hunting, or camping? More basketball, soccer, and baseball? Do you need more football? Do you just need more sports? LightTube's digital sports tier has more sports. Offering 12 additional sports channels for only $3 additional a month? What are you waiting on? Call 455-4515 and get more today.
93.9 The Duck, your local radio station playing the classic hits you know and love. The Duck covers all your local high school and college sports, from the Shasteen Show on Monday nights to Alabama football on Saturdays. Spreading the word to our listeners about your local business from southern Middle Tennessee to North Alabama is what The Duck does. If you're a new business looking to grow or an established business looking to expand, The Duck has a custom plan to fit your needs. So become part of the flock with 93.9 The Duck.
Centrally located to the colleges, high schools, and middle schools it serves across southern Middle Tennessee, Sports Plus is also Tullahoma's only locally owned sports store, with brands like Under Armour, Wilson, Rawlings, Majestic Athletics, and New Era baseball caps. Owner Joe Barstad has something for all fans and athletes alike, from pro and college apparel to your favorite hometown team. Sports Plus also works with the latest uniform trends and technology. Learn more at sportsplustullahoma.com.
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
Hey, the Rowdy Rascals are in the house. It's always good to have the Rowdy Rascals in our corner. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Welcome back to London's. Along with Ken Keller, I'm Scott Shasteen. 6-16 here on 7-16. Kind of funny how that works out. And we are talking high school football here. But before we do, Mr. Keller, you watched a little baseball yesterday. Give us a summary of what you saw.
I did. Could not miss it. Justice Sheffield in the Sirius FM Major League Baseball Futures All-Star game. It was the U.S. All-Stars versus the World All-Stars, and Justice Sheffield got in to pitch the second inning of the game. It was really awesome. My wife and I, sitting there watching that, and Harold Reynolds had interviewed Justice before the game. And Justice said he felt great. Popping that fastball in yesterday, Scott, 94 to 95 miles an hour. The first batter he faced, Sealy Mateus, took him opposite field on a home run. He's got to get that fastball down a little bit, left it up at the belt. Hey, but these are the best hitters in the world. Vladimir Guerrero, the hitting coach for the World All-Stars. I knew they was going to have a really good hitting team, but Justice did fine. Only gave up that one home run, did give up another single. 1.1 innings pitched, had a nice strikeout. Only one run allowed, and I think he showed fine for himself yesterday.
Oh, he's probably one of the youngest players in the game.
Yeah.
That heart was just beating 1,000 miles.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And he had, he had those white pants on with the black pinstripes like the Tullahoma Wildcats used to wear. And I said, man, that's old Justice, just looking like he did in high school. Gained some weight, got thicker, a lot more muscle, best shape of his life. His arm felt great. It was live yesterday. But he'll get that ball down around below them kneecaps and work that change up and slider in. And, I think C.C. Sabathia has kind of taken him under his wing with the New York Yankees. And I think he's going to get called up not too long after the All-Star break, hopefully.
And he was here last week.
He was here.
You just never know who you're going to see.
He was coming down the alley. He got a picture with a couple of the Rowdy Rascals out here in the alley. So you come down here to London's, you never know who's going to show up and be coming to the Shasteen Show.
There's liable to be a celebrity here any day.
Yeah.
Plus, you and me are here sometime.
That's right.
So there's that.
That's right.
All right, let's talk some high school football here. Again, the Tullahoma Wildcats open the season a month from tonight, August 16th, Wilkins Stadium, 7 o'clock. And the Shelbyville Golden Eagles are the opponent. Remember, the high school football schedule rotates every 2 years. So every other year, it's the exact schedule as it was the previous year. You just swap the locations. That's where we're at with this upcoming year. Everybody plays the same teams they played last year in the same order they played them. You just swap locations. So Tullahoma went on the road last year for the first 2 weeks, won both games against two huge rivals, Shelbyville and Coffee County. This year, those two teams come to Wilkins Stadium to open the season. So Ken, the Wildcats open against Shelbyville. Last year, Tullahoma jumped out to a 37-7 lead at halftime after trailing 7-0. Shelbyville fought back. It closed it to within 37-29. And then there were a couple of possessions back and forth there. Caleb Stroot knocked down a pass at the end zone line on the last play of the game to seal the victory for Tullahoma. It broke a 21-game losing streak. The monkey jumped off the back of the Wildcats, and as far as we know, has not been called.
Man.
It is still running loose in Bedford County. So the Wildcats finished 5-5. Tullahoma missed out on the playoffs. Shelbyville had a good year, went to the playoffs. Tullahoma barely missed out, 5-5 record. I think I predicted they would win 5 games, and they did. So I don't claim to know anything, but sometimes you guess lucky and you guess right, and that's all we're doing this year is guessing. So we begin with Shelbyville at home against Wilkins Stadium, at Wilkins Stadium. Shelbyville against Tullahoma. As Ken mentioned, Grayson Trammell comes in. Grayson Trammell led the state in passing yardage last year. Grayson Trammell set an all-time state record for one game with 606 yards passing, not against Tullahoma, although he had over 500 yards. But his 4 top receivers have graduated. He's got to break in a whole new group of receivers. Shelbyville has been involved in a 7-on-7 tournament. They joined 24 other teams at Oakland High School a week ago last weekend, and they won that 7-on-7 tournament. They went undefeated. They beat Marshall County in the championship game. That tells me that Trammell and those receivers have been working a lot together here in the summertime. 7-on-7 translates to nothing in high school and college football, nothing. However, if you win, go undefeated, and win a 7-on-7 tournament, that is something. You're doing something right. So I think Shelbyville's going to be pretty tough this year. I don't pick them to win Region 5-5A. I pick Summit to win that region again, just like I did last year. But I do pick the Golden Eagles to finish runner-up in 5-5A. I don't think they're better than they were last year, but I don't think Tullahoma's better than they were last year. I think Tullahoma landed a haymaker on the Golden Eagles in the first half. Shelbyville shook it off, came back strong, shut the Wildcats out in the second half last year. Ken, I think it's a good ball game. I don't think anybody gets up 37-7. But I think Shelbyville comes to Wilkins Stadium and beats the Tullahoma Wildcats to open the 2018 season a month from tonight.
You made some very valid points. Tullahoma did get the monkey off their back, and I'm telling you, I was so shocked in that first half. Tullahoma goes into the locker room up 37-7. We were just it was a jaw dropper for us. It was, you could hear a pin drop, on the home side. But they have lost 4 receivers. Tullahoma is a year older and better defensively than they were. We had Coach Olive here. He raved a couple weeks ago. He raved on the defensive ends, Matthew Ross and Tyrese Cox. They're going to make the difference in this game because they're going to put heat on Grayson Trammell. He's not going to throw for 15 yards and 4 touchdowns. Tullahoma is going to control this game, and they are going to beat Shelbyville for the second straight year. They're going to go 1-0, and they're going to beat Shelbyville again. I agree. It's not going to be a 37-point outburst. I think this is going to be more of a defensive battle. Both teams may be in the mid-20s. I'm going to take about 27-20 Wildcats. I like that defense. I think they're going to get some interceptions on Trammell, and Shelbyville's wide receivers are not as good as they were last year. Avery Brown and company, those guys were unbelievable last year. They had some 6'2 wideouts. 190 guys. They were hard to cover as good as we were in the secondary last year. I think we can be better this year in the secondary.
And the 2 young men for Tullahoma who had those non-offensive touchdowns against the Golden Eagles will both be back. They closed out the scoring. Tullahoma doesn't win that game if Ty Cox and Kobe Burks don't pick 6 Grayson Trammell. Can Tullahoma pick 6 Trammell twice for touchdowns again?
That may be a builder's supply key to the game. You just unlocked one of the keys, Scott. I like that. That was very good.
Could be. It's a tool to victory.
Well, non-offensive touchdowns, Gary Danielson calls them knots. They're big. Tullahoma had several of them, and 2 in that first game set the tone for the season for the Wildcats.
All right, so we begin at odds on opposite sides of the spectrum. Ken Keller says the Wildcats. I say the Golden Eagles. Let's go to week 2. Tullahoma stays at home, welcomes in their biggest rival, Coffee County Red Raiders. It will be the 93rd edition of the Coffee Pot. Now, last year, the Coffee Pot was the exact opposite of the game against Shelbyville. Coffee County got up on Tullahoma scored first. Coffee County scored 28 points, got up on Tullahoma. The Wildcats came back in the second half and absolutely buried the Red Raiders. Alante Taylor only touched the ball, I believe, 3 times in the second half. Coffee County kept having 4th and 1, didn't put the ball in Taylor's hands. We couldn't figure it out. We were glad that Coach Sikowski made those decisions. And Alante Taylor's on the hill this year. He's not in Manchester, Tennessee. And De'Aaron Rozier, who has been the second best player at Coffee County for the last 4 years. He just ate Tullahoma alive the last 2 years from his linebacker position. He's not there anymore. Coffee County is going to be down this year, Ken. Tullahoma is going to roll over the Red Raiders in Wilkins Stadium in week 2. I know you like to predict the score. I'll predict the score. Tullahoma 42, Coffee County 7. Week 2, Tullahoma goes to 1-1.
Scott's picked a route. Now, I'm not going to pick a score on this one.
Oh!
I'm not going to pick a score on this one. I don't pick it on every single one of them. But you're right. Alante Taylor, their major offensive weapon and major offensive threat now in Knoxville. Watch for him on the defensive side of the ball, competing for starting cornerback position for Jeremy Pruitt in year 1 as a true freshman. Scott alluded to it. This game totally different than game 1 against Shelbyville. Coffee County bolts out to a 35-14 lead, 21-point lead with 9:34 to go in the third quarter. And I said at that point, I said Tullahoma, Scott, has to play flawless football the rest of the way out to have a chance in this game. They did play flawless the rest of the way out. They had a key 4th and 1 stop. Coffee County quick giving the ball to Alante Taylor. Nick Barstead came up with play after play with Matthew Ross, Kobe Burks, and Maury Burks and company. Tullahoma gets the 42-41 win. It's going to be by a lot more than 1 point this year. Tullahoma goes to 2-0. They beat their rivals from Coffee County.
And I think you were right in saying, because we won, and it was such a lopsided game and such a great comeback, I believe that's the greatest coffee pot Tullahoma's ever had. Just the way they came back and won that game.
I've had a lot of people in the community tell me that guys that have been, watching Tullahoma Wildcat games every week for 30-plus years, as long as you've been calling. One guy, one of our fan favorites of the Wildcats, told me he's watched the replay 22 times and has every play memorized, and I think you know who it is.
Him and his daddy both.
That's right.
All right, we've got a trivia question to answer, but you need to come into London's tonight, like now, to answer this trivia question. Ken's got a nice Alabama National Champions pennant and a nice Alabama National What do you call this?
This is just a vinyl Alabama football national championship logo that you can get autographs on, man. Yeah. A black Sharpie, a silver Sharpie would look awesome on this.
It's a vinyl thingy, 18, 20 inches long. Yeah. I don't know why anybody'd want it, but, we need a winner. So the question is easy. We need a winner. 5 coaches this year in the SEC start the season at new schools and new jobs. We need those 5 names. They're pretty easy. Think about it. They'll come right to your head. Just come into London. Just pull into the alley here or Lincoln Street. Walk in. Tell our producers, Smash and Dave. It's like a singing group, Smash and Dave.
I like that.
Tell our producers the answer. They'll give you the prizes. You can be on TV if you want. You don't have to be. But we need a winner tonight. So come on into London's, or if you're already in London's, just Google those 5 names, walk up here, get these Alabama pennants. If you're not an Alabama fan, you can walk right out in the middle of Lincoln Street and burn them. We'll put that on TV.
You have somebody raising their hand in the audience over here to my left.
Yeah, come on up and give us an answer.
Come on up, give us answers.
All right, let's get back to breaking down the Tullahoma Wildcat schedule.
He's spooked.
He is spooked. We'll do game 3 here, and then we'll take a break. Because Tullahoma, Coach Olive talked about it a couple of weeks ago when he was here, about the fact that the Wildcats, 3 of their first 4 games are against their biggest rivals. That is just almost unprecedented. It is such a challenge emotionally right in between the two biggest rivals, Coffee County and Franklin County. If you don't believe they're the two biggest rivals, count the people at those two games every year. It's more than any other two games. After Shelbyville and Coffee County, the Wildcats have got to go on the road and face the defending Region 4 4A champion Marshall County Tigers. That's a huge challenge. Marshall County always has great athletes. You heard Coach Olive a couple of weeks ago. They've got 3 stud linemen coming back. They got Bryce Wallace, their star quarterback, coming back. Marshall County always has good skill position players. Ken, I don't like the Wildcats' chances in this one now. Tullahoma gave Marshall County all it wanted last year after coming off those 2 opening victories. The Wildcats took Marshall County to the wall. I think Tullahoma played its best game of the year in a 7-point loss to Marshall County last year. And the Wildcats may play their best game of the year again this year on the road in Lewisburg. I just don't think I don't think Tullahoma's got enough to beat the Tigers. I think the Wildcats fall to 1-2, dropping the game on the road at Marshall County.
I agree with you, and that's exactly what I had on my notes. Probably Tullahoma's best game of the season in a 42-35 loss. If you remember, the game rained out on a Friday night. We had terrible weather. That game was played on Saturday afternoon at Wilkins Stadium.
Oh, that's right.
Had a great crowd out there. Bryce Wallace against Nick Barstead. The game ended on a failed hook and ladder from Kobe to Amari Burks on the 32-yard line of Marshall County. And based on the film, had they connected on that lateral, we might have had all of you said would have went for 2. We could have upset them right there. But Marshall County is a powerhouse. They have Bryce Wallace back at quarterback, Bo Wallace's brother, the star that used to quarterback the Ole Miss Rebels. I, too, like Marshall County, just too much. You're right. Tullahoma could play a perfect game and still lose this game just because of all the star power for the Marshall County Tigers, plus their first road trip of the season. So I've got Tullahoma losing their first game at Marshall County, falling to 2-1.
Ken's got the Wildcats at 2-1. I've got Tullahoma at 1-2, heading to Winchester to take on the Rebels. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, live downtown at London's. This is the Shasteen Show, 93.9 The Duck.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We are the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. russellbarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
Do you need more? More golf, hunting, or camping? More basketball, soccer, and baseball? Do you need more football? Do you just need more sports? LightTube's digital sports tier has more sports. Offering 12 additional sports channels for only $3 additional a month? What are you waiting on? Call 455-4515 and get more today.
93.9 The Duck, your local radio station playing the classic hits you know and love. The Duck covers all your local high school and college sports, from the Shasteen Show on Monday nights to Alabama football on Saturdays. Spreading the word to our listeners about your local business from southern Middle Tennessee to North Alabama is what the Duck does. If you're a new business looking to grow or an established business looking to expand, the Duck has a custom plan to fit your needs. So become part of the flock with 93.9 The Duck.
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
It is 6:35 on this hot, steamy Monday, downtown Tullahoma, Tennessee. We have got a great crowd here at London's. It is happy hour. Everybody enjoying the outstanding burgers, and you're part of the Shasteen Show. We're breaking down the Tullahoma Wildcats.
We did get a winner in our break.
Season. We did get a winner. Mark Houston correctly answered the question. 5 coaches starting brand new jobs in the SEC this year. They are Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, Chad Morris at Arkansas, Dan Mullen at Florida, Joe Moorhead at Mississippi State, and Jeremy Pruitt, the new head coach in Knoxville, Tennessee, wearing the orange and white. They will no longer have checkerboard stripes down the side of their uniforms. They will now be solid orange, black cleats. He has really taken the Vols back to the glory days of 1995 or so, Ken.
He's hoping that Vol offense sees the checkerboard more than it did last year under Lyle Butch Jones, and I think they will.
Saw the end zone quite a bit until it was 4th and 1 at the half-yard line.
There you go.
It's time to throw the football.
Yeah.
We're working our way toward the 5 faces of Tennessee and Alabama football. I don't know if we're going to get there or not. If we don't, we'll do it next week. That's the way we roll. We got an hour. We do all we can. We're breaking down the Tullahoma Wildcats. We're at week 4. Ken has the Cats at 2-1. Wins over Shelbyville, Coffee County, a loss to Marshall County. I've got Tullahoma at 1-2. I know I'm going to be a fan favorite when this show's over. Everybody's going to love me and my breakdown of the Wildcats.
There you go.
Tullahoma's at 1-2 now. Week 4. It's my favorite game. Yes, the coffee pot is great and everything. My favorite Tullahoma game is when we play Franklin County. I can't tell you how many times over the last 20 years that game has gone to overtime, had some of the craziest stuff happen. There's the full moon miracle. If you remember that, Tullahoma was down by 3 touchdowns with about 4 minutes to go. Scored 3 touchdowns, tied it up, went to overtime. I think it went to 3 overtimes. Tullahoma won it. Just some great games. Really, a lot of great games in Winchester. And I think there's a chance that this one goes into that classic book of great games between Tullahoma and Franklin County. There's one thing history tells me, and that is when Mac McCurry coaches a football team for its 2nd season, they show a dramatic improvement over the first season. Now, Franklin County went 5-5 last year, a lot like Tullahoma. They missed the playoffs, but went 5-5. I think Franklin County is going to be considerably better this year. Honestly, don't think Tullahoma is going to be considerably better this year. Franklin County, Tullahoma went down to the wire. What was it last year?
49-42
Rebels. I don't think either team scores that many points. But, you know, look, I keep it real on this show. I've been keeping it real on my talk shows ever since Benz and I started over in Manchester, I don't know, a dozen years ago or so. I think Franklin County beats Tullahoma and Winchester this year. The Wildcats fall to 1-3.
Man, gloom and doom. All right, Wildcat fans, get ready for the Rebel Yell, Billy Idol. They will play that on the big screen over there. It's going to be a raucous environment. I'm telling you, it's going to be wild over there, and I'm like Scott. I think it's going to be a great ball game. 49-42 last year, Tullahoma losing 2 straight games by only a touchdown. Neither team's going to get in the 40s. The problem with that Mac McCurry wing tee offense for Tullahoma is it's a ball control offense. You got to play gap integrity on defense. You got to be very disciplined. Tullahoma is better coached this year because they got better players defensively that's a year older. Watch the Wildcats defense show up in this game. Jarius Johnson is no longer with Franklin County at running back. They lost him. He graduates. They did pick up Lincoln County transfer Nayland Jean at quarterback. He's going to be a super sophomore this year. But the Tullahoma Wildcats go to 3-1. They beat the Franklin County Rebels in Winchester on their home turf. And the Rebel fans are not yelling. They're crying when they leave the stadium because the Wildcats are going to put it on them.
You know, that's why folks call you Mr. Sunshine and call me the Prince of Darkness.
Are you calling me a sunshine
Mr.
pumper?
Sunshine.
He's calling me a sunshine pumper
Not
here.
so fast, my friend.
Oh, Lee Corso over. I like it.
Because the wing tee offense at Franklin County High School is out.
Uh-oh.
New offensive coordinator Sam Melton don't run the wing tee offense. New offensive coordinator Sam Melton is going to throw the rock around. Tullahoma fans, you know this. Sam was your offensive coordinator for, 10 years. They're going to throw the football at Franklin County, and they'll run some wing tee. They're going to be very diverse. So I hope you're right, my friend.
That's kind of like having Jalen Hurts and 2 at quarterback. You know, 2 different systems, wing tee plus air it out. Tullahoma's going to be ready. That's going to be great. But a great point right there from Mr. Shasteen that Sam Belton, now offensive coordinator, he can have 2nd and 2 inches and throw a bomb on you. You got to be ready for everything. He'll empty the playbook on you, and that's going to be a great ball game right there. Get there early is all I can tell you.
That's right. Get to Winchester early.
Yes.
Game 5. Tullahoma travels to Maury County. Tullahoma hosts the Spring Hill Raiders. Last year, Tullahoma went to Spring Hill and absolutely laid an egg. It was terrible. We were up on the roof. It was terrible for us. It was terrible for the Cats. It was just terrible. Terrible, as Chuck would say. Coach Olive talked about the challenges of this Spring Hill game. Anybody who Tullahoma would play in Week 5. Your three biggest rivals and a dynamite region team in Marshall County, and then you got to play Spring Hill. But Tullahoma gets Spring Hill at home. They have identified the problems with this week of games. Tullahoma, in my book, has lost 2 out of 3 of these rival games. The Wildcats are going to be ticked off. They're going to be some mad cats heading to Wilkins Stadium on Game 5. Tullahoma, even though Spring Hill's got a couple of transfers, they got a brand new coach, never been a head coach, never coached as head coach. They're going to have some talent, but I like Tullahoma to win this game against Spring Hill at home. Wildcats get a region win, go to 1-1 in Region 4-4A, 2-3 overall. Tullahoma over Spring Hill.
I like it. And, of course, we never compare notes before the show starts. That's where the drama unfolds during this hour of the Shasteen Show. Tullahoma played their worst game of the year last year at Spring Hill. They lost 26-6. Key early turnovers haunted and cost Tullahoma this ball game from staying in it in the second half. The only team to hold Tullahoma to 28 points last year, Spring Hill. 6 points Tullahoma's output there. This is the game that Coach Olive and the Wildcats have circled that they have to win, I think, to get in the playoffs. I think they get the job done. Tullahoma does not turn the ball over in the first half. They get ahead. They keep a lead, hold off Spring Hill late. This is going to be a nail-biter, but the Cardiac Cats are going to pull it out, and they're going to win again for the 4th time in 5 weeks. I got Tullahoma going 4-1 with the W here over Spring Hill.
She cried more.
I'm telling you.
Tullahoma.
That was Billy Idol, too.
4-1
Yeah.
in Ken Keller's sunshine. The Cats 2-3 here in the darkness of the cave that is my mind.
The dark night.
Week 6, the Wildcats take back to the road, take on another traditional rival that is a non-region game at Lincoln County in Fayetteville. This doesn't take long. Lincoln County is not going to be very good. They do not have very much team speed. They have lost their offensive coordinator, Sam Melton, who is now at Franklin County. I don't like Lincoln County's chances at all here. It's tough to play in the pit, but it's not as tough as it used to be. Tullahoma goes to Lincoln County, evens their record at 3-3, beating the Falcons, I think, rather soundly.
This game is going to be closer than the experts think.
Trap.
Okay, this is a difficult game for Tullahoma. I think they're going to pull it out, but I think they're going to have some trouble. Even with Nayland Jean at Franklin County, the quarterback transfer, I think Tullahoma's going to have trouble, even though Sam Melton's not the coordinator at Lincoln County. They won 42-26 on homecoming. Don't know if this is a homecoming game for Lincoln County or not, but this game's going to be tight. I'm going to say Tullahoma's going to win this by about a touchdown, but it's going to be a physical ball game.
All right, so the Wildcats are 5-1 in your book, 3-3 on my sheet. We've got 4 weeks in the regular season left. We'll do it right after we break. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, live downtown at London's. You're listening to The Shasteen Show, 93.9 The Duck.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We are the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. russellbarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
Do you need more? More golf, hunting, or camping? More basketball, soccer, and baseball? Do you need more football? Do you just need more sports? LightTube's digital sports tier has more sports. Offering 12 additional sports channels for only $3 additional a month. What are you waiting on? Call 455-4515 and get more today.
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
Welcome back to The Shasteen Show along with Ken Keller. I'm Scott Shasteen. We are breaking down the Tullahoma Wildcats schedule, and we are at week 7. And count them. Yeah, week 7.
Yep.
Remember, the high school football season now has 11 weeks. Everybody has an open date. Tullahoma's open date is in week 9. We're at week 7. Ken's got the Cats at 5-1. I've got Tullahoma at 3-3, and the Wildcats host Nolensville. Now, Nolensville is the second of 2 teams in the region that have a new head coach. Former assistant there at Nolensville, never coached a high school game as head coach in his life. Ken, if Tullahoma played any worse game than at Spring Hill, it was when they went to Nolensville last year on that artificial surface. Kobe Burks went out really early. Tullahoma was just out of sync the whole night. Nolensville did not have a single senior on that team. They've only been playing football. This will be their 4th year. So they're going to have a considerable number of seniors, including starting quarterback Brandon Wharton III. He's outstanding. I think Nolensville is going to be really good. I think they're going to challenge, and we're not going to break down the region this week. We'll do that next week. But I think they're going to challenge Maplewood and Marshall County for the region championship. Nolensville comes to Wilkins Stadium. I think they'll bring a really good crowd. It's not far. It's just right up there by Triune. Not a bad drive at all through Shelbyville. I think they'll bring a good crowd, probably the best crowd in the region, to Wilkins Stadium. I don't like the Wildcats' chances. I picked Nolensville Knights to beat Tullahoma.
I agree with you for once. You know, Tullahoma fell behind 28-7 last year at the half. Very sluggish first half for the Wildcats in that game. Brandon Wharton Jr., very impressed with this team. Lots of juniors on it now. They're seniors. They're a year older. And just that ride down there with you, man, to call the first year, I learned some little quirks, some traditions that Scott introduced, and I started one in that first game at Chevrolet. I picked the grass and ate it like Les Miles. I'm going to say, right, didn't I do that? I said, I'm going to start my Les Miles tradition and eat grass, before the game. I was eating AstroTurf. I had to taste a little bit. It tasted pretty good, but the Wildcats just slipped around a little bit in the first half, fell behind 28-7. They're going to struggle against this team again this year. The Knights beat the Wildcats. Tullahoma's second loss of the season.
For the record, there hadn't been any AstroTurf in about 20 years. It's an artificial surface.
Artificial turf.
So I've got Tullahoma at 3-4. You've got them at 5-2. The Wildcats go back on the road to take on the Wildcats of Lawrence County. Tullahoma travels to Lawrenceburg in week 8. Love going to Lawrenceburg. Yeah, it's a small stadium. It's a small press box. It'll be a challenge, but I love going to Lawrenceburg. Great people. They always treat us great. Have excellent food down there. Tullahoma will go to Lawrenceburg. It's probably, and I thought this last year, but I think it's true again this year, this will be the worst team David Marston has had in Lawrenceburg. They're going through, frankly, what Tullahoma went through 2 or 3 years ago, a really low group. That was a terrible thing to say. It's not the most talented Lawrence County team you'll see. Tullahoma will go to Lawrenceburg, beat Lawrence County. In my book, the Wildcats even their record at 4-4.
I will pick the Wildcats to win. The Tullahoma Wildcats to win again. They won 28-22 in a game that was closer last year than it should have been. Tullahoma played a little sloppy in spurts. But for Tullahoma, they're not finally going to get a breather from the passing attack of good passing quarterbacks. Lawrence County will line up and try to run the football. Tullahoma's front seven will be ready for a physical game. Tullahoma too much offense here. They win that game to get their 6th win of the season to go to 6-2.
So Ken's got the Cats at 6-2. I've got them at 4-4 as Tullahoma gets a week off after Lawrence County. Gets a break in week 9. And then the Wildcats come back October 19th. and host their final home game of the regular season. The Giles County Bobcats will come into Wilkins Stadium. Tullahoma went to Pulaski last year, and hey, pretty good press box there in Pulaski, boys.
Yeah.
You remember that bad boy? We were supposed to have that in Tullahoma. Did y'all know that? There's a long story behind that. I might tell it sometime. But Tullahoma will host Giles County. I think the Wildcats stunned everybody by going to Pulaski last year and beating Giles County and highly acclaimed quarterback John Backus. He didn't impress me that much at all. He's not there at Giles County anymore. But what we know is the Bobcats traditionally have really good athletes. You know, Giles County's dropped down to 3A now, so there's some transition going on down there. But they've still got good athletes and really good players. This is a game in between two region games. This is the game before the final game of the year that the Wildcats are going to have to win to get in the playoffs. I think Giles County, and again, Prince of Darkness, baby. Giles County comes in and beats Tullahoma at Wilkins Stadium. The Wildcats fall to 4-5.
If the Wildcats can go to Giles County and upset the Bobcats on their homecoming with John Backus at quarterback, John Backus is gone. They're going to win and pick up win number 7. Yes, I said it. The 7th win of the season. Tullahoma's going to go 7-2. The Sunshine Pumper has struck again. Tullahoma beats in the Battle of the Cats. The Wildcats beat the Bobcats.
I like it. I like it. You know, in your book, Tullahoma's already long clinched a playoff berth, right? They've long clinched a playoff berth.
That big win against Spring Hill in the middle of the season.
That did it. Absolutely did it. And then solidified it by beating Lawrence County. So in your book, the 7-2 Cats go to Maplewood in week 11. I believe basically probably with nothing to play for as far as playoff berth goes. Maplewood's going to be outstanding. They've got multiple Division I prospects. I picked Maplewood to win Region 4-4A. I do not like Tullahoma's chances to go to Maplewood and beat the Panthers. I can't wait for you guys to go to Maplewood. It's going to be a treat. And so I got Tullahoma finishing at 4-6. I ain't going to lie. That's the way I pick it. Tullahoma finishes 4-6, and they do not make the playoffs for the 4th year in a row.
The Prince of Darkness has spoken. Tullahoma's going to lose this game. Quarterback Bobo Hodges back for Maplewood, the Maplewood Panthers. They've added a 4-star wide receiver per John Olive that was on the show only a couple weeks ago. Tullahoma battled last year, lost only by a touchdown, gave a good fight, lost 36-29. I don't think they have much to play for in this game. I think they've already clinched a playoff berth. They'll finish the regular season 7-3. Circle that Spring Hill game. Spring Hill does not have running back Dante Smith or quarterback TJ Enos. That's why I'm taking them over that big game, which I think is the biggest game of the season, regular season, Spring Hill. Circle that game, Wildcat fans. That's going to be a big one.
Yeah, I like Tullahoma to beat Spring Hill. I really do. Unfortunately,
so you've got Spring Hill coming back and kicking them out of the playoffs then.
Well, actually, Tullahoma, even though I've got the Cats picked to finish 4-6 overall, the way the region lines up, you just got to beat 2 teams to go to the playoffs in the region. And with Tullahoma beating Lawrence County and Spring Hill, that leaves the Wildcats finishing 4th in Region 4-4A and puts Tullahoma in the playoffs as the 4th finish. Now, at 7-3 in the region, you've got them finishing, I don't even remember what you're.
I've got them behind Maplewood and Nolensville. I think they're going to finish 3rd.
Finish 3rd.
Yep.
So either way, Tullahoma goes on the road in the opening round of the playoffs. 3rd and 4th place team go on the road. They would play the 1st and 2nd place team in Region 4-3A, which is up on the upper Cumberland, Macon County, Livingston Academy, Cumberland County, those DeKalb County. Now last year, the 4 teams from Region 4-4A beat all 4 teams in Region 3-4A in the first round of the playoffs. You think that happens again?
I think Tullahoma's going to do their part. I got them winning their first game, knocking out the number 2 on that out of that region.
I think it does happen again. I think Maplewood, Marshall County, Nolensville win those games easily. Now, Tullahoma will have to go on the road if they finish 4th and play the first-place team in Region 3-4A. But those teams just aren't very good. And I think Region 4-4A does that again. Now, in my scenario, that would mean Tullahoma would have to play Maplewood in the second round. In your scenario, Tullahoma finishing 3rd would play the second-place team in the region. Either way, I don't like the Cats advancing to the 3rd round of the playoffs. So I think Tullahoma finishes 5-6 and breaks through and makes its first playoff appearance in 4 years. Wins that first playoff game. I guess they would finish 5-7.
All right, so you got them 5-7.
5-7.
I've got them winning the first round playoff game. I had them 7-3 in regular season, so I've got them finishing 8-4. In Region 4-4A, I've got Maplewood, Marshall County, Nolensville, THS, Spring Hill, and then Lawrence County last. That's how I'm gonna rank them.
Pretty close with you. Maplewood, Nolensville, Marshall County, Tullahoma, Spring Hill, Lawrence County.
There you go.
Pretty close.
Very close.
So that's our breakdown of the Wildcats. I know you like his a whole lot better than you like mine. That's great. I'm cheering for his all the way. Trust me, it's a lot more fun to call a win than a loss. So I hope you're
probably
right.
going to be somewhere right in between.
Could be somewhere right in between.
Yeah, somewhere right in between.
Which would be about 6-6.
Yeah.
Go to playoffs, win the first round.
Yep.
Lose second round.
So we can agree. Let's get a playoff win this year. Let's make the playoffs to win a playoff game.
It's time to get Tullahoma back in the playoffs.
Sure.
Absolutely. That is the goal this year. Kind of like with Tennessee Volunteers, get back to a bowl game.
Yes.
Tullahoma needs to get back into the playoffs.
Would you pick Tennessee to go 6-6 into a bowl game, and I've got them at 7-5. So we'll see who's closer, the Sunshine Pumper or the Prince of Darkness here in these predictions.
All right, we'll do our best next week to give you the 5 faces of UT football, the 5 faces of Bama football. We're both going to spend some time this week with Murphy Fair's Tennessee High School Football Yearbook, and we'll come back next year knowing a lot more about high school football. Congratulations to Mark Houston. He's our winner tonight. We appreciate our supporters, Dave Stripling, Daniel Scroggins, Caleb King. Thank you to the Rowdy Rascals. For Ken Keller, I'm Scott Shasteen. Be good to each other.
The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma and brought to you by Southern Community Bank, Rogers Insurance Group, and Mission Collision, is a presentation of Bowman Media Company and 93.9 The Duck. The show is taped before a live audience at London's in downtown Tullahoma, Monday nights at 6 p.m. Come join us for cold beer and Tullahoma's best burgers. Thanks for watching The Shasteen Show on LightTube Channel 23.